Hello, fellow gypsies and spiritual wanderers. This is Mocha Gypsy, and tonight we're going to speak about the power of thought, unintentional curses, and manifestations. Have you ever been so angry at someone that something weird happened to them shortly after? Or maybe you wished for something in a moment of frustration and it came true? It might sound like a coincidence or even fantasy, but unintentional magic is real. Your thoughts, emotions, and will carry power. Today, we're diving into how everyday people unknowingly perform acts of magic, sometimes blessings, and sometimes curses. A teacher of mine, a Tibetan Bon Buddhist named Lynx, once told me something that changed my life. Every thought you have is either an intention, a blessing, or a curse. That simple idea stuck with me because I've lived it. Long before I officially practiced magic, I noticed that certain intense thoughts or emotions seem to do something, shift reality, cause weird coincidences, or attract strange events. At first, I didn't understand it, but eventually I realized I had to learn how to control it. Another thing Lucky taught me is that when your thoughts and desires are strong enough, nearby spirits or entities may hear them and act on your behalf. You might unintentionally enter into a spiritual agreement without even knowing it. And once that deal is made, you become responsible for fulfilling it. That is why self-awareness matters. Just because you don't mean to send a message into the spirit world doesn't mean it wasn't received. Not long ago, I had a nightmare that took me back to a dark chapter in my life in Sundance, Wyoming, a place I once lived but had to flee for my safety and my daughter's. In the dream, I walked down Main Street and people whispered, "She's back!" Moments later, I was arrested. My worst fear had come true. I could no longer protect my daughter from her abusive father. That dream shook me, but it also made me wonder, had my thoughts, my trauma, anger, and fear left some kind of spiritual residue on that place? Did I unintentionally curse that town that caused me so much pain? Here's the strange part. After I left Sundance, Wyoming, the population dropped dramatically from around 2,000 people to under 1,000. The Black population now sits at a literal 0.0. It's the seat of Crook County, and this kind of population loss is no small thing. Did I do that? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's what people call karma. Maybe it's COVID. Maybe it's just the consequence of corrupt people keeping other corrupt people in power. But still, I can't help but wonder if some deep part of me set something in motion when I left. This wasn't a one-time thing. Several years before that, I had an explosive argument with my first husband, a manipulative older man. I stewed at work, fuming. Suddenly, I had an urge to call him. He picked up and said, "I can't talk. I just cut my hand open and I'm rushing to the hospital." He worked in construction and had sliced through an artery. Coincidence? I don't think so. Then there was my godmother. I had driven hours to cheer her up, but she nagged about the smell of my car the whole time. You see, I was eating McDonald's and I left the leftovers in the back seat and forgot about it for about a week. And with her constant complaining, I felt deeply hurt and angry. Less than a week later, she had a random, uncontrollable nosebleed and had to be hospitalized. They had to cauterize inside her nose to stop the bleeding. Again, no medical explanation, but I knew. I just knew I had something to do with that. This energy doesn't only flow in dark directions, it can also unlock miracles. When I was a realtor struggling to make my first sale many years ago, I finally broke down and screamed in frustration while driving. Why am I not making any money? I work so hard. The very next day, I landed a real client and got my first commission. Not long after, I transferred to a better firm and my career took off. Whether you call it manifestation, prayer, divine alignment, or just emotional release, your thoughts have power, and they do create ripples in your reality. Jesus once said, "Anyone who is angry at his brother has already committed murder in his heart." That's not just metaphor. Anger carries force. It can create real-world consequences for others and for you. If you're constantly ruminating, obsessing, or stewing in rage, you may unintentionally cause harm, and you may bind yourself to that outcome energetically. We tend to think of magic as candles, chants, and rituals. But often, the most powerful acts of magic happen when you're not trying at all. Your thoughts, especially when fueled by emotion and will, can bless or curse without ever lighting a single candle. So now I ask you, have you ever unintentionally cursed someone? Have you ever manifested something shocking, good or bad? Drop a comment. I want to hear your stories. If you're curious about harnessing your energy more intentionally or worried you might have unintentionally cursed someone, I offer personal consultations and spiritual work to help you make sense of it all. Link in the description and in the pinned comment. Until next time, stay mindful, stay magical, and remember, your thoughts are powerful. Use them wisely. This is Mocha Gypsy. Be blessed.